Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where today we will be taking a look at the Marder VTS1. And I do apologise for the sound of my voice, I'm recovering from the flu. Nevertheless, let's have a quick look at, I'll do my short overview of the VTS1. So, this is an Era 2 light tank and it doesn't know what it is. This tank does not know where it fits in the game. And it can't perform as a light tank. It's got the same gun as a Leopard 1A1 medium, so it could try to be a medium, but it doesn't do that very well. So finally it's forced into the role of a tank destroyer, but it can't do that properly because it's a light tank, which limits the crew skills you can use. So yeah, this tank does not know what it's trying to be. It doesn't know where it's meant to fit. And in my opinion, this is the worst light tank in Era 2. And, you know, and Era 2 includes the Type 63 HG. And, you know, some people will say the T92 as well. So, there's some stiff competition for being the worst light tank in Era 2. But I think this one has somehow managed to claim that prize from the previous winners. And with a base price of 12,900 gold, there is absolutely no way I would recommend anybody buy this tank for that price. I wouldn't recommend anyone buy this tank even if it wasn't that price, to be honest, but there you go. I would personally stay away from this thing as much as possible, unless you're shredding one like I am in this clip here. I think the only thing that this thing is good for is being target practice for other light tanks in the game. Yeah, there you go. It's not exactly a shining review at this point. Alright, so let's take a look at the detail stats of the VTS1. And since it doesn't seem to know what role it fits into, I'm not going to compare it to any other premiums. But without crew or equipment, it has 449mm of pen on its standard rounds, 505 on gold rounds, and 250mm on secondary rounds. Standard and gold will do an average of 460 alpha, and secondary HESH will do an average of 570. So, I mean, you could say, oh, it's got HESH. Like, yeah, it's got, yeah, it does. It's not, doesn't redeem it though. Not really. The VTS1 has 2,500 hit points, and all the stats I've said so far, everything I've stated so far, this is identical to the Leopard 1A1, which is a medium. But this trend doesn't continue all the way through. The VTS1 will do 74 kilometers an hour forwards, and it will do 74 kilometers an hour backwards. It has 530 meters of view range and 307 meters of still and moving concealment. So there you have it, a high level view of the VTS1. And to some of you, it might not sound so bad. And I do want to caveat what I'm about to say here by adding that I have read a lot of feedback on this tank, so I understand what people are saying. I have two issues though. Firstly, folks are saying it needs to be played like a tank destroyer. And you might be right, that you may be absolutely spot on with that assessment. But the issue I have with that is, if I wanted to play a premium tank destroyer, I'd be playing the Chieftain CTR, or the Wolverine, or the Rock Crawler. Heck, if I wanted the tank destroyer experience, I'd be playing the Object 120 for free. And, you know, if I wanted to play a tank destroyer, I'd pick a tank destroyer. Like, that's pretty simple. And, you know, and by the way, as a side note, all the premium TDs I just mentioned are the same price as the VTS1, and all of them are better at being a tank destroyer than the VTS1 is. The second issue I have is the matchmaker doesn't see the VTS1 as a tank destroyer, it sees it as a light. You've already seen a clip earlier in the video of what a BMP2 will do to the VTS1. No disrespect to that player, by the way, either. It's just, you know, the tank is what it is. It's going to get shredded. And it's a similar story for almost every light tank in Era 2, premium or tech tree. It's gonna the VTS1 is gonna get matched up against light tanks. It's gonna get matched up against RDFs, M3A1s, Scorpion 90s, Sheridans, AMXs. You know, all these premiums and tech tree tanks that are good light tanks. And every single one of them, premium or not, is going to outplay the VTS1. It is not a fair fight at all, but the matchmaker will still assign your team a VTS1 as the Scout, and it just can't do that. And that is why I don't think this tank makes sense, because as a light tank, it's completely lost. It is not a light tank at all. It does not fit the role of what light tanks do in Era 2 especially. Now, if Wargaming were to change it to a tank destroyer, then my views would change completely. But the reality is, it's a light tank, and you can try and shoehorn it into the clothes of a tank destroyer. You can try and make it look like a tank destroyer. You can equip it and put a crew in it. Whatever you want to do, you can try, but it will always be limited in that role because it's not a tank destroyer. It's a light tank. That is plain and simple. That is the fact. If I had to say something good about the VTS1, it would be that its forward and reverse speed are the same. But even then, the power to weight ratio of the VTS1 is similar to a medium. So, as you can see this in this clip here, while mediums can go pretty quick, it takes longer for them to reach that top speed. And if this was a medium, that wouldn't be a problem, because that's just fitting the trend of mediums. But as we've already established, it's not a medium. It's a light tank. And the power to weight ratio for other lights is something like, I don't know, 29, 28. This one is down at 21. It's just underpowered. And yes, you can do 74 kilometers an hour backwards. Yes, in theory you can, if you're prepared to wait the 3 months it takes to get to that speed. This isn't going well, is it? Not at all. Really. Oh dear. Alright, let's take a look at the economy stats. It's got a 55% silver boost, 15% tank XP boost, 4% free XP boost, and finally a 15% crew XP boost. Yes, sorry, almost missed that one. So even from a tank statistics point of view, it's not that great. This is essentially a variation of the Leopard 1A1, but it doesn't have the 65% silver boost that the 1A1 has got. So even then, it's not selling itself all that well. So yeah, I do think this is a terrible premium. I don't recommend. I don't recommend you buy it. Don't save your money. 12,900 gold. That's a lot of money. That's not cheap. So yeah. On that rather disappointing note, I'm sorry about this, guys, but it is what it is. On that disappointing note, that is all I have to say for this one. So if you've enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, if not a dislike, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.